Notice that log in that tree right there from the high water. So we're back in my hometown again here in Columbus, Mississippi. This is our old river bridge. It's now a pedestrian bridge. This is the bridge pier right here. This got leaned over from the previous video that I filmed back earlier this month. Look at those marks right there. This is not done by scouring or anything like that. There was a barge that got loose and came down through here, and that's where the nose of the barge hit that pier. It's a miracle it didn't knock that pier completely down. The only thing that kept it from going down is that leg on that bridge span on the left right there. You see it? And then that piece of metal that the wedge rests on, it knocked it into it right there. Had it not been for that piece of metal, it probably would have knocked that pier completely down, and that span on the left would have fell right there. Now that span on the right, it would not have come down because it's supported. It's actually balanced on that center pier. So I'm going to zoom in on it real good here where you can get a pretty good look at it. But it knocked that thing. It's probably moved it a foot or so over. That gives you a real good view of it. See that thing on the right there? That's a wedge mechanism that when that bridge spun back around, that wedged in there, and it kind of got the elevation to the right level of that other span over there. So the bridge is still closed to foot traffic. That's the only thing that's been going across that thing since they refurbished the bridge and got it all fixed up. And everything is fine until this barge come down through here. But we're going to go back to the right in just a second. And I'm also going to show you the good side of the bridge where it's not messed up, where you can see what it's supposed to look like. We're going to fly over to the center pier in a second. You're going to see the paint from the barge on the center pier, but I'm going to back the drone up right here, and we're going to fly over to the left where you can see. I'm going to get in line with it where you can see how out of plumb this pier is right here. I'm going to watch all these trees as I ease over. This was probably the worst wind I have flown this drone in right here today when I was doing this. I mean, the wind was crazy right here. But you can see it's leaned it over pretty good right there. Got it out of plumb. I'd hate to know what the bill is going to be on this thing, too, to fix this thing up. All right, look at them marks right there. I'm going to zoom in on them, too. You see those marks on that center pier right there? See, that center section was made to spin. You can see all the gears and stuff up under it when I get on up here a little bit closer to it. But this bridge here is kind of our main focal point as you come into our town here in Columbus. And you spend a good bit of money on it, fixing it up for a pedestrian bridge. And it's actually a very nice place. I've walked across it a bunch of times, but you can definitely see the paint right there from that barge. The night that this happened, this company had several barges get away from them, and that one barge came down here and ended up against this pier. And what's odd is when it happened, there's people that live in houses along the river back up there, and I don't know that any of them knew that the tugboat come down through there and picked that barge up. But what it did is that barge come down and it nosed into this pier right here first. It hit it first and then spun and ended up resting against that center pier in the center. At first, everybody thought that it was, just from scouring or the water, the river being up had gotten it over, which, I mean, this bridge has been in tons and tons of floods over the years. But that's not the case right there. You can see the amphitheater over there in the background. We're going to fly over here to the good side where you can see the good pier and see how it's actually supposed to look. Now, when you're coming back this way where I'm at right here, the bridges kind of come together, almost get real close, and then there's a tree and there's a power line, and that wind was blowing so hard right here that I was having to be real careful trying to ease it up, because that wind, it'll push that drone around. Even though it's sitting there trying to hold position, it'll push it around a few feet sometimes. So I'm gonna zoom in on it. This is the good side. This is the way it's supposed to look. You can see that leg there on the right, how it's perfectly plumb, and you can see the wedge block right there to the left of it. See, there's a space between it right there, between the piece of metal that the wedge block sits on. I guess that's what it's called. That's what I'm gonna call it. But that's how it is supposed to look. But an unfortunate accident there, and I'm sure to get fixed back up and everybody be able to use the pier again. But I wanted to come back and film this again once the water got back down, where I could fly kind of up under the bridge and and show it and give everybody a good look at it. So it'll be interesting now from this point going forward to see how they will take care of this situation. See, I zoomed in on this right here, these marks right here on this pier, but I don't think they're anything to do with a barge or anything. I don't think that. I think that's just some stuff on the concrete, or where they painted that pier right there. And concrete, the paint or something's flaking on it. I'm not sure, but I don't think that's from anything with the barge that did anything like that. There was people in the previous video that I filmed of this, said, all they need to do is just, jack that bridge up and pull that pier back in place. But they're going to have to do some underwater surveying on that thing, because with it leaning it over right there, I know that bottom foundation has been compromised on that thing. And so they're going to have to really look into that and check that out and kind of go from there. Because I don't know that just standing it back in place and letting the bridge back down on it, I don't know that that's going to work. Not from a safety standpoint. And then, because I'm sure once it moved it over like that a little bit, there's possibly been some scouring up under that thing now. So there's no telling what kind of shape that it may be in. So I'm going to fly down just a little bit, and I'm going to spin the drone back around. This is kind of pointing south right there. That's back toward Columbus there now. I actually have the original plans to this bridge. I have them. They were sent to me. I have a good friend of mine that had a copy of them. And I have a full set of these plans for this bridge. I need to decide how I'm going to post them, because I know there's a lot of people that would love to look at those things. And I don't know if I'll do it in a video form or what, but you can see the difference here in it. The bridge deck right there. Well, you can see that drone bouncing around with that wind right there. Now I've come back, and you can actually see me in this shot right here over on the right in my orange coat over there. We're going to fly on the Riverwalk here in just a second too, and where you can kind of see that. But what's weird is that barge got under that new bridge and never touched that thing. They got real lucky that it didn't hit that one over there when it was coming down through, because it didn't have much of a hole to fit through right there. That's where the barge come down from, was right there. And bam, dead center that pier right there. So I just kind of fly up under it here. This stuff interests me just like it does a lot of y'all. and I like to kind of follow it. There were several people mentioned Juan Brown, Blanco Lirio. I watch his stuff a lot. It goes all the way back to the Oroville Lake Dam over there in California, where all that stuff went down a few years ago. There's that log right there again. You're gonna see the river walk. All this is a sidewalk, and it's covered in sand, just 3, 4, 5 inches of sand. You see all the sand coming out through here. This side is all sand, and the other side over there, where I'm fixing to spin around to, is all just a layer of mud going this way. This is where all the mud starts. It starts right over here after you come out from underneath the bridge. So every time this floods, they have to come in here and blast all this stuff off. Because I walked around over here to the left, and it's some of the nastiest in that grass. It's some of the nastiest mud you've ever tried to. It's like a layer of ice or something. And this is a parking lot right there straight in front of me, and they've still got that thing closed. This half covered with mud and sand, and so I don't know if they'll end up trying to wash it out too. But this is a pretty bad mess right here to have to clean off every time. From the floods, when it floods like this, and Columbus is not. Having floods is not new to Columbus either. It's one of those things, and several people said, well, that's what you get for messing with the river. Well, trust me, before they fixed the river, before they put the locks and dams in, man, somebody could just take a leak up the river a little ways, and it would flood Columbus. So it made it a lot better when they worked the waterway and got it fixed up like it is now. And of course, we still get floods, but not like we used to way back in the day. Some of the really, really bad ones that we had, because the river wasn't very wide. It was so crooked. The water just couldn't flow down through it and all that. But so I'm just kind of flying back as the drone footage is almost over. So what happens now? Man, I don't know. I guess it's gonna, since the water's down, I guess they'll probably do some looking and things like that. This is gonna be a mess. There's no telling how long that's gonna take to kind of get that fixed up. Thank goodness it didn't fall on in the river, because that would have that would have compounded things even worse. But I'll kind of keep y'all updated as time goes on along. Jill and I was not here this past weekend, so I'll get back over to the Octavia County Lake Dam maybe this coming weekend and do some filming on that again, and just kind of give an update on that. I got something else I want to do over there. I actually reached out to a particular person, hoping I hear back from them, hoping that they'll meet me over there at the lake dam. That'll be kind of cool that they'll agree to it. But so if anything goes on with the bridge, and they start to do any kind of work on it, I'll be there to kind of film, because I can come in. There's several different ways that I can come in from and film the process of what's going on, and kind of keep y'all up to date. But I said I wanted to come down here and check it out again, and especially since the water went back down. The water was it was, before Jill and I went to Oregon, it was already back down into the banks, but it wasn't all the way down where it needed to be. I wanted to be able to see the paint marks really well from the barges, and that's you can see it pretty good then. So like I said, we'll see what takes place. Appreciate all y'all watching the video here and tuning into the channel, and everything, all the clickable stuff's right down below. We'll catch y'all later. Later, taters.